All right, guys, we should be live now. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the discussion stream. We are going to be doing a community discussion here on the channel today. So it's Wednesday. I'm sure you're all aware of that. But the reason why I'm highlighting the fact that it's Wednesday is because I'm thinking about maybe doing a weekly community discussion that you can look forward to on a weekly basis. Now, it's hard for me to determine whether or not this is something that will actually work out, mainly because it's going to be up to you to decide whether or not it's something you like. So, if you could do me a favor, if you are watching this live, or if you are somebody who happens to click on this once it's out there and you can just watch it on your own whenever, please hit the like button if that is something that you would like to have happen on a weekly basis. The reason why I'm going to need you to let me know basically in the comments and with viewership and with likes is because, it's not that we won't do discussion live streams even if it doesn't go very well. It's more along the lines of, in order for it to be a consistent weekly thing, I have to know that there's enough demand for it and that it will be strong enough for that. Now, obviously, this is a pretty bad week to be doing this, mainly because there's not a whole lot going on. And I saw that there were, quite a few people who were, saying, well, didn't we have this conversation already? Didn't we have this discussion already? And, oh, hold on. Okay, you guys are saying that, you guys are saying that it was a little bit delayed. As always, the disconnect with streaming sometimes. You're saying, no, I need content for Sundays. Yeah, that's true, but here's the difference between the community discussion and the weekly podcast. With the community discussion, the idea is I will post a poll, right? A poll on a weekly basis on my channel. So like every Wednesday or Thursday, I will post a poll where you vote, but I will also encourage you to leave your thoughts in depth below that with a comment so that it may be featured in the community discussion. Again, something we can test out. I've been doing it for a couple of months now, just not on a consistent weekly basis. But it's hard to say if that's something, again, that you guys would want or that we could do. Have I posted it yet? Well, the one we're going to be talking about today, the community poll that we're going to be referring to today, actually was posted, I think, a week ago. So I gave it about a week. And it has to do with whether or not we believe it is necessary for Sony to hold an event in 2021. Sir Speaks a Lot, you're saying, since this isn't an official live, nuke. No nuking. No nuking. Hello, FreezeVamp. I'm doing good. But no nuking, Sir Speaks a Lot. No nuking, not yet. Maybe at the very end, I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that's maybe at the end. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, so for those who may have missed it, I'm going to repeat it just one more time here before we get into the discussion, just so everybody's aware, because apparently the first part, some of you guys are telling me the first part of my stream cut off, or like the first minute. So I need you to hit the like button for me if, and only if, well, if you enjoy the content, but if you would like to see this as a weekly show, basically, on top of the weekly podcast, we can do a weekly community discussion every Wednesday, or at least that's what I'll strive for. And the idea is I want to get the community much more heavily involved in the conversation. Obviously, every Sunday, the community is involved in the conversation already, but I have a tendency to just kind of, not just only read the super chats. We read the super chats and then I do off the cuff stuff sometimes with the chat. But the idea with the community posts is it will be more in depth. It will give the audience here, you guys, more of a voice where you can be more in depth. You can leave as long of a post as you like and, kind of say your piece. Because I know with super chats, it can be relatively limiting. But again, it's going to be based off of viewership, and support. So, yeah, we're going to have to see. I can't make any promises, but I figured today the first discussion we could have is surrounding the PlayStation event, right? It's something that we have continued to talk about. We will continue to talk about. It's hard not to because it's really difficult to determine right now whether or not Sony will do an event. Now, before I get into the community side of things, I want to just say a couple things here. First of all, and chat, I'm going to need to refer to you on this. I feel like this is something I should know, but for some reason, it's like just not there in my memory for some reason. And I don't know why. Maybe it was because back in 2019, I wasn't really streaming events and I wasn't really live reacting, so that could be why. Can you let me know, chat? Did Sony have any type of an event in 2019? I know for a fact that they backed out of E3 in 2019. If I'm not mistaken, that was their first year announcing that they weren't going to be part of E3. But I was thinking to myself, wait a second. Did Sony do something in 2019? If they did, I don't recall it. Mini Tom, you're saying only in 2020. They did not. Tokyo Game Show. Did they have any significant showings? I feel like they did. This is like a big blind spot for me. I don't know why. They did some stated plays. No place. Yeah, I remember they specifically said that they weren't doing a PlayStation experience either. Okay, here's a follow-up question. You're saying the last time they did an event before 2020 was PSX 2018. So 2018 was the last time Sony officially did a PlayStation experience event. So basically what we have is Sony doing a PlayStation experience event in 2018. After that, they went... See, that's really weird to me. I don't know why I don't recall that at all. Because that changes my outlook somewhat. It does. I can't believe Sony didn't hold an event in 2019 of any kind. I know they did some stated plays. So technically, the only 2 years there weren't PlayStation Experience events were 2019, where Sony didn't do anything in 2019, and then 2020, but it's completely justifiable why PlayStation Experience didn't happen in 2020, because they had 2 other events. They had the Future of Gaming, which was dedicated to the PS5, and I guess we could just call it the Future of Gaming Part 2, which they did in September. So, that's interesting. I don't know why it literally just clicked with me, like right now, that wait a second, Sony didn't do anything in 2019. Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you were to ask me personally, let's not deviate too far. I want to make sure I don't deviate too far. The question is simple. Do we believe it's necessary for Sony to do an event in 2021? Now, it's difficult because when I use the word necessary, when I say the word need, is there a need for an event? It's difficult to have that conversation without your own personal feelings getting involved. For example, if you were to ask me, do I believe Sony needs an event in 2021? Well, you have to ask, in what context? Do I feel that they need an event to continue to exist, to continue to be successful? No, they don't. At least in 2021. They would be just fine without it. I mean, I know some people don't want to believe that, but that's the truth. Do I want that to be the case? Absolutely not. That would be crazy, right? Do they need an event? Is it necessary for them to have an event in order for them to not risk losing too much mind share or, causing people to kind of, not be as interested? That's where I think it gets a little bit tougher, because it's like part of me says, yes, I do think it's necessary. Another part of me says, I don't know, because just, the idea of Sony not doing an event doesn't mean that they're going to remain quiet. Now, if you were to tell me, hey, what if I told you, insert Morpheus meme. What if I told you Sony wasn't going to do an event this year and they really weren't going to be announcing anything else? At that point, I would turn to you and say, that's a problem. I think it is anyway. I think it's a problem. But anyway, I digress here. We're going to go over to the community post that I put out. And this is where the community discussion part of it comes into play. So give me 1 second to bring this up. Okay. So 1 week ago, I posted this out over on my community tab. We don't really have to read the bottom part here because I was just encouraging anybody who wanted to leave a comment down below and be thorough and, what in your explanation, because you might be featured in this stream. And so I said, do you think it is necessary for Sony to hold a big PlayStation event this year? And these are the three options I put. Option 1, yes, it is necessary to build excitement and reveal a clear roadmap. 77% click this one. Now, we have 17,000 total votes. It's not the biggest pool, but I think it's safe to say that out of the 17,000 people that voted on this here, I think it would be a safe assumption to say all of them are like part of the core PlayStation fan base, right? Not really so much of a casual poll here, or demographic, I guess we could say. And then we have option 2, which is I would like an event, but I don't feel it's actually necessary. So 19% voted for this. And I wanted to be sure to put this in here because this is where you see the clear separation where, there is a difference between us feeling that, I want an event, but is it necessary? Like, is it truly necessary, objectively speaking? And 19% believe no, it's actually not necessary, but they want it. And then we have 5% that said it's not necessary at all. It's better to drip feed the news and reveals. And I wanted to be sure to word it that way because that's what a lot of people think Sony's going to be doing going forward. They're not going to be doing big showcase events going forward. They're just going to continue to drip feed news and information about PlayStation throughout the year. iSiler18, you're saying it's not necessary, maybe since God of War and Horizon will probably be coming way before anything else that's in mid-production. I'd rather prefer the traditional E3 type presentation every year. So, yeah, I mean, that's something I've noticed, iSiler and everybody else here who is listening. I've noticed that we can't seem to escape, not we, but Sony cannot seem to escape this right here. Yes, it's necessary to build excitement and reveal a clear roadmap. 77% of the people voting, and I would love to see the results of a poll like this done by, let's just say, the official PlayStation account, okay, on Twitter, or even, let's say the YouTube PlayStation account, the official PlayStation YouTube account. They have 13 million subscribers, all of which you would assume are subscribed for PlayStation info and trailers and whatnot. I would absolutely love to see the results of a poll just like this, not just like this, but basically a poll from the official PlayStation account that says, do you prefer E3 style events or do you prefer, state of plays and just kind of like a drip feed of news? I feel like the overwhelming majority of people would vote for the E3 style event. The reason why I'm saying this is because even though we only have 17,000 votes here, which I still think is, kind of a lot for the amount of subscribers I have here, that's a pretty good amount of people who are engaging with this poll. I think that this number is representative of what most people would say. And I feel the reason for that is because this is how Sony has conditioned us. All right. I say this because Sony has always traditionally done E3. They've always traditionally had these big events. Sony, more so than most other gaming companies, like they have put on a spectacle. They've had some of the greatest showings ever, right? E3 2016 with the orchestra and the God of War reveal, right? And the Days Gone reveal. Like they've had some very memorable moments. I mean, even I forget which year it was. Was it PSX 2016? They revealed The Last of Us Part 2 for the first time. And I remember when everybody saw that trailer, they were like, oh man, is that Joel's ghost? Now that you think, now that we're thinking about it, was it? I don't know. We still have an answer to that. If I'm not mistaken, that scene wasn't actually even in the game. But, you know, you just kind of think of these moments, even last year, you know, the future of gaming. Mindseeker, you're saying, don't know why people think it's not necessary because a PlayStation showcase will gain so much attention. Yeah, I think so too. It was very interesting. I know people don't take him seriously anymore, but I just still thought his comments were interesting to evaluate. Michael Pachter, we talked about him in my recent video where he said that he thinks Sony is dumb. They're just straight up dumb for not attending E3. And the more I thought about it, I completely disagree with that. I don't think that means Sony is smart for not doing a big show. The only time I think Sony is smart for not having a big show of their own is if they truly just don't have enough to show. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't have enough to justify an hour and a half long showcase, then it's best not to do it because at that point, you're just going to upset people even more so. You're going to get negative feedback at that point. And based off of 2019, it tells me that, yeah, if Sony doesn't have enough to show and they feel that they have to save it, they won't do anything major. So 2019 is proof of that. And we are here now in 2021. And I don't think it would be wise of Sony to not do something significant this year. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to come in the form of an event. But anyway, let's go to some of the comments here. Give me a second to bring it up. Okay, so I want to read through some of these comments. We have Deleted KD. He has 116 upvotes, and he says, let's not sugarcoat. We hold them to a high standard. There's no point in lowering that standard now that they have sold us the system. So a lot of people agreed with Deleted KD here, and I actually do have to agree as well. And I think him using the term like high standard, like we hold Sony to a high standard, I don't think it's. I think what he's mainly referring to is the high standard of put on a big show, get people excited, get fans excited. But in my opinion, the high standard for me comes in the form of it's not just about the show itself. It's not just about even the way you present it. I mean, I don't really worry about Sony when it comes to presenting, right? I feel that Sony is always kind of on point where like they know 9 times out of 10, like they know with their events, I'm not necessarily talking about stated plays, but they know how to generate the excitement. They know how to get people hyped. You know, this is something Sony has been mastering for years now. But for me, it's not like the high standard. That's not the high standard. The high standard is the pipeline of content and games. That's the high standard, and maybe that is what Deleted KD was talking about, and maybe that's how other people interpreted it, but that's the high standard I'm talking about. So when he says, let's not sugarcoat it, there's no point in lowering that standard now that they've sold us a system, I agree. This should not be a situation where just because we have the system and they sold it to us, now it's like, well, we're going to take a year off. Again, could Sony get away with that? They could. And let's be honest here. When we say that, it's not like we're saying, oh, Sony took a year off. They didn't give us any games. This isn't Microsoft. I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. This isn't Microsoft. Sony isn't Microsoft. Sony doesn't let their fan base go years without a quality AAA exclusive. In fact, up until this point, we've been eating good. We've been eating very good. Just got done Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, solid launch lineup with Miles Morales, Demon's Souls. Even before that, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, Dreams, right? We've been eating really good. But even the rest of the year, we have Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I'm not going to lie. Kenna Bridge of Spirits practically looks AAA to me. That almost looks like a AAA game. We have Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, which I know for some people is like, oh, that's not exciting. We already played it. But, we also have to take into consideration that Horizon Forbidden West is still set to launch this year. It has not gotten delayed yet. And hopefully it stays that way. And if we do get Horizon this year, then putting the event aside, Sony's pipeline has been very strong. I think where the real concern lies is if Sony doesn't do some type of an event at all this year, what does that mean for their pipeline of games in 2022? Does that mean that Sony's not going to be able to keep it up? That maybe they front-loaded, the PS5, and now there's going to be a bit of a lull period. I mean, we do have GT7, we do have God of War, but to be honest, outside of those two games, not that I'm downplaying those games, but still, it's two titles that could, come at random times throughout 2022, assuming they don't suffer any more delays. I mean, what else do we know about for 2022 when it comes to Sony? iSiler18, again, thank you, buddy. You're saying the first reveal trailer for The Last of Us 2 was 4 years ago. The first gameplay presentation is 3 years ago. The game launched a year ago. Some people forget how Sony operates with no complaints back then. Yeah, that's true, iSiler. It seems that Sony is not afraid. I mean, we do have to understand that it's completely different leadership now. You talk about the way Sony operates in 2016, 17, 18, 19. It is different leadership now. But I guess, the question is, will Sony still operate that way? Will Sony still show games? Will they feel confident enough to show games that maybe are still 3 years out? This is something we saw Microsoft do with their E3 this year, where they basically said, yeah, we don't care if this game, like Hellblade, let's not even use E3 as an example. Let's use Hellblade 2. Microsoft showed this game off, revealed it for the first time in 2019. And we're discovering now that it's not even in full production yet. It's probably not going to be out until 2024. And yeah, I think that's too extreme. Like, I don't need Sony to show me or tell me about games that are like 4 years away potentially, or 3.5, 4 years away. But I don't know. Maybe it would help, right? I mean, what PlayStation fan would... You already know what most PlayStation fans would do, right? Like, if Sony was like, here's Sony London's game called whatever, and they show us like a little sliver, and it looks really good and exciting. And it's like, we learn that, yeah, it's probably not coming out till like 2024. Like, most PlayStation fans wouldn't care. They'd be like, hell yeah. And every time they make their lists, we make our games list, we'll be like, put that game on there. Sizzle, you're saying, tell them again, MBG, we're eating good over here. It's true, man. It's true. I mean, I know there's the whole fanboy back and forth stuff, but the reality of the situation is PlayStation fans, both PS4 and PS5 owners, we're eating good, man. We're eating good. And it's sad because people, I think, misinterpret how I personally feel versus the reality of the situation, which I can understand. I think sometimes it's based off of how I come off. But we're sitting here talking about an event again, and people mistake that just because I'm very eager to know more about, say, a game like Horizon, God of War, I absolutely want Sony to do an event. I want to know what they're planning on doing, if they plan on doing anything at all in August. I want to know about this Abandoned Trailers app, or, my bad, real-time experience. Like, I just want to know if that's connected in any way to some type of Sony event. Just because I want just because I'm full doesn't mean I'm not thinking about, well, when I get hungry again, what's next, I think that's the best way to put it, is we're eating good. Right now I'm feeling I'm feeling full to the point where, we're almost all the way through July at this point. We're 3 weeks deep into July, and right around the corner, I'm not starving right now by any means. I'm pretty satiated, But hey, we got Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and then on top of that, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Now you're giving me too much at once, Sony. You're gonna give me Kenna Bridge of Spirits on August 24th. No. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut on August 20th, and then 4 days later, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Come on. That's too much. That's too much at once. That's like bringing out the appetizer and the entree at one time. You know, I mean, I'll take it. I'm not going to tell you to take it away. Put that on the table. But I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to tackle this, you know? So that's kind of yeah, that's kind of the situation I feel like PlayStation fans are in, is like, just because we want to know, like, and it's crazy because I'm gonna go to the next community response here, but I have to do a little mini rant right now, okay? I don't have my rant juice, but got my my rant seltzer, I guess is what I'll call it. Mervin, please don't spam in the chat, man. I don't like spam. I have to go on a little mini rant here. While I do this, I'm gonna come back to this. Okay, I'm gonna put this up because I want to go. Oh, there we go. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, perfect timing. I want to go on this little rant here right now because I feel as though I have to, you know, because I've been seeing this a lot. Right now we're in an awkward situation that is being twisted by Twitter and the internet and the media, and I really don't like it. And it's unfortunate because they use our anticipation against us. What I'm talking about is we have a situation where Xbox bought Bethesda. They bought a bunch of other studios, right? But Bethesda was the biggest one. Excuse me. They had their E3 showcase. And you got to give Microsoft, I'll give them credit, okay? Like, because I want you to understand, this isn't actually a problem with Microsoft. I will have to highlight a problem with them. It's just that mainly a problem with like the way the narrative is being written right now. Not everywhere, but in some spaces. And again, I understand I'm a PlayStation content creator, so I come across it more often than the average person. And it can be confusing for me to determine, like, is this just something that exists in a vacuum? Or is this actually the general public perception? Jose, you're saying, about damn time was waiting for the rant. I can't promise I'm going to yell or anything, because it's not that serious. But, like, you know, the idea of, like, PlayStation fans have been eating good, and we're talking about an event. I'm just so tired of the narrative being like, well, what's Sony doing? Like, what are they doing over there? When's Sony going to wake up? When's Sony going to do this and that? Like, look. I, more than most people, can agree. Like, yeah, Sony, I'm ready. You know, let's do something. Let's see more of Horizon. Let's get a Horizon release date. Let's see some God of War. Let's know about Blue Box Studios. Let's get that Silent Hill reveal on the road, right? If it's real. If it's real. It's a big if. I'm right there, right? Like, I'm a huge advocate for that. But at the same time, like, can we please stop acting like Xbox has won the day, has won the generation, because they finally had a good E3. Like, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Xbox. They had a great E3. I thought it was fine. And people were very satisfied with it because they did everything right. They're like, hey, we got some games coming this year. We got Forza Horizon 5. We got Halo Infinite, and that's great. Flight Simulator, that's awesome. I'm happy for Xbox fans. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those are not necessarily the games that I was hoping to be hearing about this year. Like, none of those games are making me jump over to Xbox, but that's great. Like, you can't say that, oh, they don't have content this year. No, they do. And Halo and Forza are huge. Even Flight Simulator, to an extent, is huge. There's also the fact that Microsoft revealed a ton of games, and they showed a ton of games at their event. So volume-wise, it was all there. But there's like, you know, they show Starfield, and it's like, that's awesome. We didn't see any gameplay yet, and it's not coming out till the end of 2022. And that it's great that they showed it, but that's the general theme here is everybody's just beginning to act as if Microsoft has been just doing this great job delivering games for years now, right? And I get it. I know, like, when the bar is low, it's not hard to clear. I understand that. And that's maybe the reality here. AWS, Asher, you're saying Back for Blood, Kenna, Hunter's Arena, Battlefield, and many other games for this year. We def have enough to play, but we do want our big hitters. I agree. There is a lot. They're actually, dude, the back half of this year is pretty loaded. Maybe not necessarily jam-packed with just PlayStation exclusives. I mean, between the content that PlayStation has and the third-party AAA content, there's a lot. There's actually quite a lot. Eric, Classic, you're saying, all I want is a PS5 State of Play, no PS4 anything. It might be some time before we get that, unfortunately, Eric. That's just the reality of the situation currently. I think maybe by the end of 2022, possibly, I know this is going to sound crazy, but possibly not until sometime in 2023. Sony doesn't plan to abandon the PS4 anytime soon, for better or for worse. But, the main point I'm trying to get at is that it just frustrates me that just because Sony finally hits a point where it's like things are a little bit more quiet than usual, they're not making big waves during the time they traditionally would in summer. People just suddenly act like, well, I guess PlayStation just sucks now. And I understand it's like, well, they're showing off director's cuts of games. They're charging for some of the upgrades. And, people are just not, and, there's the whole indie conversation. There's just like this kind of culmination of all these different things that as I've been saying throughout this year, like, you combine that with Sony's silence. And again, this is where I'm fairly certain all of that exists in a vacuum. I'm going to talk about this in my video tomorrow, but you want proof that the fake online internet outrage doesn't matter? The PS5 just cleared 10 million units sold. The PS5 managed to do this in 35 months. To put that into context, the PlayStation 4, which was Sony's Sony's second best selling console of all time. Actually, I think the PS4 is the second best selling home console of all time, period, right behind the PS2. It took the PS4 39 weeks to hit 10 million. So you had the PS5, which is under a severe supply constraint right now, the likes of which we've never seen, right? With a PlayStation console, as far as I'm aware, still managing to break records, to set a new record for PlayStation. And yet we still see people acting like, well, what's Sony doing? Like, what do you mean, what are they doing? They've been releasing games. Have you not been paying attention? They've been releasing games. They've been supporting their console. It's like, it's not a complicated process here. I feel like people make it more complicated than it has to be, right? The process is simple. You're saying VG Charts is not a trusted sales source. Well, I understand that. I understand that fully. And in fact, we don't know how accurate it is. But it's the closest thing we have right now. And based off of everything we know officially, it seems very likely the PS5 has surpassed 10 million by now. Jerome, you're saying, did you know Kenna Bridge of Spirits is going to PC? I did know that, yeah. I think it's eventually going to make its way to Xbox as well. It's not a permanent exclusive as far as I know. Anthony Perez, you're saying, too bad they couldn't generate hype by not being at E3. Right, Michael Pachter, LMFAO. Yeah, I don't know, man. Somebody's saying, did I talk about Xbox outselling PS5 last month? So I could be wrong about this, but I swear somebody told me, they said to me that the Xbox Series consoles outsold the PS5, specifically in the US, by 3,500 units. But globally, I think PlayStation still kind of stomped on everybody else. I'm not sure about that. I would have to look into it, but I see, like, I mean, that's great and all. And it you know what? Honestly, it seems like the E3 showing for Xbox really did help boost Xbox sales. as it should, right? Like, it got people excited, and they're like, I want to go buy an Xbox if I can, and that's good. But and I'm going to end this rant in a minute here because I'm getting way off topic, and I do apologize. But the formula is not difficult. The formula is as simple as this. Sony creates a console. They make games for that console. They create a powerful console. They tell you, hey, we have this console. Here are the games that we're making for it that are coming out. And here's when they're coming out. So you should go buy this console if you can and play these games on it. It's as simple as that. That's all it is. That's all it is. I see people come at me all the time and be like, well, the PS5 sucks because of, and they give me a whole list of reasons. And they have like this technical, in-depth evaluation of what's wrong with the PS5 from the hardware to their services to Sony's, just the way they handle their everything. And I'm just like, that's cool, man. I'm going to go back and play Ratchet and Clank some more now. I don't know. Okay. Like, nobody cares about like this stuff, realistically speaking. Maybe the hardcore people do, but even then it's like, come on, Sony gets the most important thing right. I don't care how hardcore you are, right? The games are what matters more than anything. And that's why, there's nothing wrong with giving Microsoft a lot of credit, because it's like, yeah, Microsoft has turned the ship around, man. They're going all in with games. We're going to have to wait to see the quality of them, but they got Forza Horizon 5, they got Halo Infinite, they got all these titles coming. They had a great showcase, a great event, and that's great. But, I mean, let's not pretend that it's been this way all the time for Microsoft, because it literally hasn't. Petty Boy, you're saying, do you think it's possible that Sony can get, quote, too cocky, unquote, and lose the lead, a la like what happened to Microsoft during the Xbone era, especially with Game Pass? I do. Only if, you ready for this? The only way Sony basically, you say lose the lead, like they basically just lose their momentum to the point where people just start to lose interest and their competition starts really kind of gaining on them and maybe even surpassing them. I know some people are not going to want to hear this because they don't think it's true. And I'm not claiming that I know for sure, but based off of my evaluation and everything I know, the only way Sony does that is by not delivering the games or messing up with one of their big games. And that, honestly, is a perfect segue right back to the main topic here, which is it necessary for Sony to hold a PlayStation event this year? Here's my biggest argument, and I'm going to get back to some of these other community posts because I want to see what else you guys are saying, but here's my biggest argument as to why Sony needs to have, I want to say an event, but if not an event, they need to deliver some type of roadmap of some sort, at least for 2022. Because my fear is that, well, we have Kenna, we have, I don't want to keep saying Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding director's cuts. I don't want to keep saying that because I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous. Because if you're somebody who already played these games, they're not new games. Don't get me wrong, I played them, and I'm going to replay them, and I'm excited for them, but we have to just kind of look at the new games. You know what's really funny? You're saying hold Sony accountable. Well, of course, we have to. We have to hold them accountable. But I wanted to share this funny little story with you. It's not anything major, but it's something that I recently came across, and it made me laugh out loud. Actually, it didn't make me laugh out loud. It made me go, what? Damn. Like, it made me kind of be like, wow. So I was listening to, I think it was Sacred Symbols. Okay. It was Sacred Symbols, and it was Colin Moriarty doing his call-in, because he does that now on his Sacred Symbols Plus show where he actually has people call in. And one of the things that was brought up was Sony and the director's cuts. And one of the things he said that just made me kind of be like, wow, he went there, man. He went there. He went for the juggler. Is he was saying that there's a lot of people online who were like, well, Xbox doesn't do this. Xbox isn't doing director's cuts. And he basically turned around and was like, Did anybody ever think maybe it's because Xbox doesn't have any games that are worth making a director's cut of? And I was like, oh, damn. Like, he did it. He said it. And I'm just like, looking back at the Xbox One generation, considering that generation was so weak for games that I ended up jumping ship. Like, I saw Crackdown 3 and I'm like, I'm out. I mean, is he wrong? Is he wrong? I don't think he's wrong, man. I don't think I think Colin's right there. And I just thought that was an interesting retort that I haven't really seen many people bring up. But when you actually evaluate it and think about it, you're like, well, I guess like, are we going to see a director's cut of like State of Decay 2? Like, no, you're not. Is Microsoft going to do a director's cut of Halo 5? No, they're not. Are they going to do a director's cut of Crackdown 3? No, they're not. And, I thought that was a really interesting thing. I apologize, guys. Like, I say this is going to be a community discussion, and I'm just totally going off the rails, but I had to tell you that because I was like, yeah, I mean, not everybody's happy about the director's cuts, but I mean, has Microsoft, they have yet to produce a game like Ghost of Tsushima or even Death Stranding, and I think that those games justifiably can have director's cut versions, especially Death Stranding, right? I mean, Ghost of Tsushima too, like it's getting a whole new expansion. Anyway, I digress here. I'm sorry, guys. I keep going on and on. Vote with your wallet. That's true. Vote with your wallet. PlayStation needs RPGs. I'm so thirsty right now. I just had some Chinese food and man, must have been packed with sodium because I am very thirsty right now. Can anyone name the director of Ghost of Tsushima? Is it Nate Fox? No, is that the name? Somebody let me know if I'm right. I know a couple names from Sucker Punch. That's the first one that comes to mind. Tell me I was right about that. Tell me I actually named the director. I bet you he's not the director, though. Somebody look that up for me if you can in the chat. Okay. Getting back to the discussion topics, though. Pretty sure it is Nate Fox. Man, I feel like I just hit a half-court shot there. If I got that right. Quentin Tarantino. It is Nate Fox. Really? Okay. Awesome. I feel like, that makes me feel great because I feel like I just hit a half-court shot. Like, I was totally just kind of like, here's the only name I know right now that off the top of my head from Sucker Punch that I feel like could be Anyway, all right, let's go back here. Let's look at some of the other replies that we're getting because we definitely have a few to go over here. Oops. Sorry. Remove my webcam. All right, so we went over deleted KD here. Let's scroll down a little bit. Let's go to XGO3AS is what I'm going to call you because I don't think I could properly pronounce your name. You say, I feel that they definitely need an event. We've had some great exclusives so far, but we need an update on the big guns. God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2. I think it'll bring a crap ton of hype and excitement to fans, and I think it's necessary. So, yeah, I mean, let me think about this for a second. So, the chances of us... So what you're saying is we need an update on the AAA greatness from Sony, right? That's basically what you're saying. We need an update on Horizon, which I agree. Horizon's the one where no matter what, we're going to hear more about Horizon this year. No matter what. Maybe a second state of play. Some new trailers. God of War, I feel like, is up in the air. And you talk about Spider-Man 2. I don't think we'll see Spider-Man 2 yet. We could, though. But that actually brings up a really good question that I'm going to ask in a moment here. Darren, you're saying Director's Cut is just Sony fanboy marketing BS for DLC expansions. Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, and Doom Eternal all got expansions. Here's the thing. Director's Cut You're saying it's Sony fanboy marketing. Why is it Sony fanboy marketing? Why can't it just be a different naming convention? I mean, I get what you're saying. I get that you're saying that, technically, if you want to be technical, if you do want to be technical about it, you could say games like Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, and Doom Eternal, because they all got expansions, and I believe all of them got upgrades as well. If Microsoft wanted, they could use that term and say Gears 5 Director's Cut, Sea of Thieves Director's Cut, Doom Eternal Director's Cut. So I do understand the point you're making, Darren, but I don't think that it's fair to call it like fanboy marketing. I just think that it's Sony's way of being like, hey, I'll put it to you this way. I think Sony wants to add a little bit of spice to their marketing, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I know that not everybody's on board with the Director's Cut name, but it's like, it sounds, to a lot of people, it sounds really appealing. Like, oh, the Director's Cut. I need to get it because they're calling it the Director's Cut. To whereas if you look at Microsoft, like, they don't really do that at all. You could argue that Microsoft doesn't need to do that, though. Like, when they release an expansion for Gears, like, they just want people to engage with it, right? Like, and that's it, because you can get it through Game Pass. That's all they want. So it's, again, I feel like if anything, the Director's Cut, I think it's a way for Sony to kind of separate once again from and deviate, where it's like, this is the path we're going on. We are just kind of doing our thing. And you see the way Microsoft is going about it, just two different paths. But I do understand what you're saying. Doom Eternal is multi-plat. Yeah, it is. That's true. It is. Okay, so let's move on to the next response here. I cannot pronounce these names. Fahir. I'm just going to call you Fahir. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. You're saying, yeah, absolutely necessity. And I mean, why not? It's Sony and PlayStation is big, and we have really good first party too. Why not show it? And I think the wait is really, really worth it. So you're saying it is a necessity. It is necessary. I'm assuming that's what you meant. Either way, it means the same thing. Okay. I mean, so basically the point you're trying to make is that, hey, they have the goods, why not show the goods? And I can't really argue with that. I guess the only thing I could say is, well, if the goods aren't ready to be shown yet, that's probably the only reason they wouldn't, right? We know Sony wouldn't hold it back unless they had to. Echoes 93, you're saying Colin mentioned you in his Sacred Symbols Plus episode about Blue Box. Yeah, I do get access to the Sacred Symbols Plus. I think I'm the $1 tier. I should probably upgrade because I really do like their content. But yeah, some people were telling me about that. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to that episode, man. I think it's amazing. I think it makes me feel so good that they also are believers, that I'm not the only crazy person out here. Even now, like, they're doing this content, and I'm like, look, I'm just chill right now, but I'm gonna make some popcorn for that episode. And I'm curious what they said about me. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but hey, I am dying to know, absolutely dying to know what is going to happen with this Blue Box situation. But yeah, I can't wait to listen to that episode. Anthony, you're saying they need a big event this year without question, and it needs to show new IPs, not just sequels we know about. Love the stream. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much for that, man. Doing the best I can here. I think we can all agree that right now on the PlayStation news and information front, it's very dry. It's very dry right now. It's difficult for me as a content creator, specifically focused on PlayStation, to continue to make it seem like there's ultra super exciting news every day, because we know there's not. But, the support you guys show me here as a community definitely helps and goes a long way. And I try my best. I'm trying to get a little bit more, I don't want to say creative, because I'm definitely not the creative type, but I'm trying to find some new flavors of content potentially to do during these like low tide periods. But thank you for that. And you are saying that they do need an event this year and to show new IPs, not just sequels. So yeah, actually, you mentioned new IPs. That's something we need more ultra excited news every day. Yeah, right. we talk about new IPs. Here's what's interesting. I feel like a lot of us have forgotten that Herman Hulst said, I think twice this year, that they have over 25 PlayStation titles in development currently, and over half of them are new IPs. I mean, if that, obviously I don't think he would lie about that. 25 titles, surely they have to be ready to show some of them. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head. I can think of The Last of Us multiplayer. That's been in development for quite some time. Surely that's ready to at least be revealed. Then we also have Guerrilla Games. They have a second team that's been working on a AAA shooter, multiplayer shooter, since 2018. Surely that game is ready to be revealed. And probably many others that I'm just not aware of. So, again, it's just kind of like one of these things where a lot of people are saying that Sony's not doing anything because they don't have anything to show. And I don't think that's it. I really... Did anybody ever think... Really quick, can we take this angle for a second? Let's take this angle for a second. If Sony were to decide suddenly that we're actually not going to show anything this year, right? Or maybe we are going to have an event this year, but it's going to be in December. PlayStation Experience, December. I mean, the year is pretty... Basically, we may as well call that an event, early 2022 event, right? Because it's the end of the year. We're going into 2022. Did anybody ever think that the reason why Sony would choose to do this now, when we're seeing production issues persist to just at the nth degree with the PS5, is because all of the games that they have set to reveal going forward are PS5 only, or at least 90% of them are. And they're thinking, well, we're still having a really hard time keeping up with the demand. We can't make these games PS4 games. The next best thing is let's kind of push back when we reveal them. So by the time we reveal them, hopefully we have more PS5s out there, or it's easier for us to meet that demand. Did anybody ever think about that angle? Because to me, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Sony's hey, GT7, PS4, God of War, PS4, and maybe they're just making it clear that these are the big, the last big PS4 titles potentially that they're going to be delivering. And maybe everything else that they have in development is just PS5 only. That's just a thought. Kendall Fire 22, you're saying, can't wait to see the Xbox fans do backflips to justify their words when Microsoft announces an Elite controller with haptics and adapter triggers. Yeah, dude. Oh, man, that's going to be a fun day. That's going to be a fun day because you're right. A lot of people are going to look stupid. You're saying the Game Awards is in December. Sony's not planning an event on this month. Yeah, but the Game Awards have always been in December. Have they not been? In other words, Sony always did their PlayStation Experience in December regardless of the fact that, right? Pretty sure I'm right about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. They could do an event at any time. They could do a PlayStation Experience event next month. They could do it in September. I'm just saying that, there are all different angles we have to consider. You're saying that Game Awards has only been December the last couple of years. Is that true? I feel like I haven't been following the Game Awards. I don't remember. A lot of people believe there is going to be an event in August. I mean, guys, it's hard for me to not believe, right? Because Sony... I wanted to ask you guys this question before I read some more responses here, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Is it possible that Sony will have more to show and reveal and say, but it's not going to be a big showcase event, but it's also not going to be a state of play? Or could we see the first major state of play where it's 30 to 40 minutes? It's a state of play, but it's huge. They show God of War. They show more Horizon. Maybe they show PSVR 2. Maybe Silent Hill's revealed. I don't know. But could you see this happening? You know, I it's we can't predict Sony anymore. I know. Come on. Can you fault me though, man? Like, I know that's like we can't predict Sony anymore. And then I proceed to try to predict Sony. Well, what else am I supposed to do? You know, this is the content I'm known for. And it's like, I'll continue to predict, and I'll continue to probably be wrong most of the time, but it's fun. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey as well. But that, who was it? I forget who, but somebody was telling me that apparently, like, and I don't know if this was just somebody making something up, what they think is going to happen, but they're like, hey, well, Sony's going to have basically a mini event, like a micro event in August where they like get people excited. Like, here's Horizon's release date. Here's a little bit more God of War, maybe God of War first trailer, maybe a little bit on PSVR 2 and a few other smaller things. But then they're also going to have a full-blown PlayStation experience, like a full-blown event at the end of the year. That actually makes a lot of sense to me. That makes more sense to me than Sony having their big major event in August, basically doing like a mini event just to keep fans like, okay, like we're getting something. I think God of War would be enough to keep fans satiated for some time. We're going to have games to play, And then I think maybe if Sony really wanted, they're saving the big guns, like the new stuff, like all the big new PS5 game reveals, they're saving them for maybe an event towards the end of the year. I don't know. I think it's possible. I think anything's possible at this point. But let's continue on here and read some more responses. We have Chris Plays. You're saying, do I feel it's necessary? No. Do I want one? Yes. Having an event as a splash to make fans both calm and excited would benefit Sony, but having a steady stream of stated plays throughout the rest of the year wouldn't bother me that much. So Chris is kind of in the middle, where it's like he would definitely welcome a full-blown event, but he's also not totally against the idea of just having a steady stream of content that may not be delivered in all at once in a massive, overly exciting way. But, so yeah, I think that's a pretty fair way of kind of looking at it right now. Mark says, as long as they have big things to show, they should have one every year. While it seems like everyone on the internet wants to find a reason to tear down Sony, their big shows get everyone back on their hype train. The obvious caveat is that if they don't have enough that is either cooking or ready, they can't, because a lackluster showcase will then have the opposite effect. And that's what I said earlier. So I agree with you 100%, Mark Brown. I think that when we talk about holding Sony to a high standard, that's what we talk about. We talk about like they have to have the pipeline in order and ready. We don't, Sony, the last time Sony kind of had like a weaker, I think the way they put it is a more sparse year or two was back in 2014 and 2015 a little bit. But even in 2015, we got Bloodborne. So it's like, the thing is, Sony is just always on point when it comes to having that steady stream of content year after year. The idea that would just suddenly change, is it possible? Yeah, it is, especially with the whole global pandemic and whatnot. Of course it's possible, now more so than ever, but again, if that's the case, then you would think, wouldn't Sony have a weaker launch lineup with the PS5? They haven't. Their lineup has been great. So, you're saying, MBG, I saw your video a few days ago about Plague's Tale on PS5 and Series X, where you said the shadows were better on PS5. Digital Foundry said they are identical, but PS5 had screen tearing issues. Well, the thing is, I wasn't reporting from Digital Foundry at the time of that recording. Digital Foundry had yet to release their video on it. I was going by a different, I forget the name of it. It wasn't as prominent as Digital Foundry, but that's what they found. So I was just reporting on what was being said at the time, and it, I looked into it. I watched the video. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess they're right, what they're saying. It seems like they did their due diligence. But I don't know. Maybe Digital Foundry is the better. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't really follow Digital Foundry that closely anymore, honestly. The reason being is because I kind of don't care anymore. Like sometimes I talk about it, but I'm not worried about if a game looks or runs a little bit better on the Series X or the PS5. It doesn't matter to me. The PS5 has proven itself. Like, again, like everybody was like, watch out, MBG. PS5, weak Station 5, RDNA 1.5, it's going to struggle. There's going to be a big gap. And, we're like 8 months into we're almost a year. Like, we're going to be, this November, we're going to be a year into this console generation. And it's like the PS5 is kicking ass. Like, honestly, like games look great on it. So I don't care anymore. Maybe for like next gen only games, I'll start paying attention again. Jessica, you're saying, I think Sony's next event with the real-time experience is going to bring so much hype and start a new live showcase standard. So, Jessica, yes, I'm intrigued by this notion, by this prospect. My wife actually said the same thing to me. She says, MBG, because that's what she calls me. She calls me MBG. She says, what if this rumored event and this app, and there's like they're connected. What if it's like just the biggest event that Sony's ever done, and it just literally like melts people? And I'm like, that's dangerous thinking. I like it. I love it actually, but that's dangerous thinking. But that's the thing here is like, can we just consider that for a moment? So many people are so quick to be like, Sony doesn't have anything. Sony isn't going to have an event. They're all dried up. And I'm like, but what if it's actually the literal opposite? What if the reason why Sony does not care at all about all of the negative press they're getting with their silence is because they know once they deliver, it's going to be like Sir Speaks a lot. It's going to be like a nuke. Sony's just going to nuke the entire industry and be like, yep, Silent Hill, Kojima, we have it. I keep saying that, but it's just like I'm waiting any day for it, What if pigs flew? See, come on. It is what... Dude, you guys are crazy. I find myself surprised sometimes by there's such doubters where it's like, that's not even a possibility, MBG. Don't you understand? What are you, crazy? Do you think pigs are going to fly? Sony having a monumental event in 2021? Are you crazy? Like, come on. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, is it really like that outlandish? I don't think it is. I understand though. I think the people who are the most doubtful and who push back against that wishful thinking the hardest, I think those are the people who secretly want it the most. I really do. I really do, because I know what that feels like. You want to believe so badly, but no. I can't don't give me hope. Don't give me hope, BBDW saying, like these later streams means that it fits into my time zone. I'm happy to hear that. I know that I can't, be on everybody's time zone, but for those that I can, always happy. And hopefully people who miss this are able to, they tune in later. By the way, guys, I don't know how many people we have viewing right now, but if you could do me a big favor, and as I said at the beginning of this stream, we have 700 people here. Please hit the like button for me. It's going to be really important for you to hit the like button. That's going to be the way you let me know if this is something you want to have more consistently going forward. Honestly, the less likes I see, and I'm not expecting a crazy amount of likes right now because we have 700 people watching, but if by the end of it, it's like it can't even get past like 700 or 800 likes, by like one day of being out, that might signal to me that this might not be something people are as interested in. So it's really important. I'm going to be looking at the likes and not necessarily the dislikes, but Jerome, you're saying Kenna, Final Fantasy 16, and Horizon are all planned this year. Update. So I guess you mean like we're going to be getting updates. I mean, yeah, like I said, we're going to hear and see more of Horizon. Obviously, Ken is coming out next month. Final Fantasy 16, it sounds like they're trying really hard to get that game ready to show off again, and it seems kind of up in the air. MBG, MBG, what's your opinion about this new free-to-play shooter game from Ubisoft? Tom Clancy something. Dude, Tom Clancy's rolling in his grave right now. My God. Like, I don't care about Ubisoft games at all anymore. I honestly struggle to think of a single Ubisoft game that I'm interested in. I mean, I think that they should immediately cancel Rainbow Six Extraction and make Rainbow Six Vegas 3 or Rainbow Six Patriots. This new free-to-play game, oh my God, dude. Or what? Like it's I'm just tired. I'm so tired, man. I'm tired. I mean, it's because it's Ubisoft. It's like I know what this is. Like I know what this is. Sony did something similar with Destruction All Stars, and everybody's like, "Oh, but you like Destruction All Stars?" I'm like, actually, no. I was pretty like, I don't know about Destruction All Stars. I played it, and I'm like, it's okay, but that's not Sony. Like Destruction All Stars is not Sony. Destruction All Stars is okay, but this new game from Ubisoft, whatever it is, weird, man. Like, just stop, please. Shinkei, you're saying, what if that live experience app is a way for Sony to bring the E3 experience home? I don't know. Maybe. You guys have no idea how much I've been restraining myself when it comes to not talking more about the blue box thing. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but like, and the only reason I haven't is because there's nothing else to go off of right now, but I'm waiting for the 29th, dude. You better believe it. I am waiting for the 29th. Saneu.com. You're saying, how do you add value to PS5? Live trailers, genius. I mean, yeah, it's difficult for me to believe that this real-time experience app, when they described it and how it's specifically for trailers that are 5 to 12 minutes, and live events, it's really, really difficult for me not to believe that has something to do with some type of an event of some kind. It sounds too plausible, right? Ray, you're saying thoughts. BBSJ Twitter is BBSJ. What's that? Blue Box Studios. I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me what that stands for. Maybe I'm completely missing it, but you're saying Hassan is clout chasing. But to what end? You know? I'm just waiting to see because Blue Box Studio Japan. I don't know if that's real or not. MBG is a blue box shrine. Shh. Am I streaming the EA thing tomorrow? Probably not, honestly. I'll probably tune into it, but I don't know if I'm going to stream it. All right, so before we get too far off track here, did I ever get my DM after the best level user experience tweet? No, I didn't. Do I think PlayStation will do something with Evo 2021 since they went out of their way to buy it? Probably. I mean, you would assume so, right? Why wouldn't they? They bought it, so. Okay, so let's move on here. We have the Hunter. He says, yes, because we need a clear roadmap to what they have to offer in the second half of this year. Also, along with updates on major games in development. And of course, what we could expect in 2022. It's going to be a huge lineup, that's for sure, especially for how many things that got delayed. So I can't, it seems that the general sentiment so far with the majority of these comments that were left is like Sony definitely should do an event. And the main reason is because a lot of PlayStation fans feel that even though we know Sony has a lot in development and we have a pretty good idea of the rest of this year, Sony needs to like make that clear statement like, okay, here's what you're getting for the rest of this year, and here's some more games that are coming in 2022. So I do think that, yeah, that seems to be the general sentiment that people have here. We also have XC saying absolutely necessary. We get something to look forward to and get to talk and dissect our favorite reveal. And Sony gets to build excitement, and if anything, small stuff that no one would look out for gets put in the spotlight by being associated, and because its time is during the event. So I don't fully understand what's being said here, but generally I understand. You're basically just saying that they need to. It's a necessary thing for them to do. Okay, we also have Tanae. You're saying, I would like one. The 2 events they had last year were a lot of fun and honestly sold me on the system so well that I ended up trying to get it on day 1 instead of waiting for games. Now that I have it, I think it'd be cool to see what I could play on it this year or the next, but I had plenty of games to keep me busy without that. Okay. Rich of Cucumber Eater. Yes, it's necessary. We would like a big event where we see God of War and lots of future projects, because as of now, what's after God of War, Horizon, and GT7? Literally nothing from Sony. That's why they have to reveal what's ahead as well as keep their fans excited and to let them know what the future holds. So I agree. I think it's well said, Rich of Cucumber Eater. I think that that's a big point here as well, is that like we do need to have a better idea of the future for the PS5 and PS5 games. We do. We need to have a better idea. And I think we may get that. Hopefully. I'm hoping we get that. I've Saken Soul. You're saying at least a Horizon Forbidden West release date and SSD storage info. Yeah, that's another one too that I keep forgetting about. And the only reason I forget about it is because it hasn't been a problem for me, but the SSD storage update. Sony's really lacking on that one. Like, really. We have BDM is what I'll call them. Absolutely, they need to. And I'll bet it'll be before the end of August. They've got to generate some positivity with a few new IPs and announcements. It's time for maybes and what ifs. The time for maybes and what ifs has run its course. They've stretched it out long enough. Yeah, I do agree with this. It seems like it has reached a point where people are feeling tired of feeling like they're waiting. And, you could say, well, nobody's making you wait. And you're right. Nobody's making anybody wait. You don't have to sit here and wait for Sony. Go do your thing, But it's like, for those of us who do wait, I mean, it's literally part of my job here is to, see what Sony's doing and what they're up to. I am kind of sitting here like, so when's that blue box reveal, right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got to go into blue box mode for just a second, guys. Just a second. Because I may talk about this in a video. I'm kind of nervous too, though, because it's so small that people might not like. It might be like, dude, it's not a big deal. But I caught on to it. I got to say it real quick. Actually, it wasn't me that caught on to it. I don't have the individual's name in front of me, but somebody on Twitter, and if we do talk about it in a video, I'll definitely give them the credit. Somebody on Twitter, and this is all I'm going to say. And I'm curious because I didn't even think about this. I'm like, this is just another layer of weirdness that I guess can be explained away if you want to explain it away. But Shuhei Yoshida, he's the head of Sony's indies. And I follow him on Twitter, and a lot of people follow him on Twitter. And they're basically saying, like, this guy's all over indie games, man. Like, he's always tweeting about him. He's always talking about him. He follows all these studios. and everything else. And he has not said a single word about Blue Box, nor does he follow them. Okay? Nor does he follow them. Now, Blue Box is associated with Sony. They're making a PS5 exclusive. They got the PS blog. They're getting their own app. By the way, I thought this was funny too. A lot of people were saying that, oh, it's not a big deal that Blue Box and Hassan are getting the app on PS5. They're not getting special treatment. That's not special treatment. And I thought it was funny because, again, referencing Colin Moriarty, he's like an indie dev now, basically, or, you know, he makes the Hebroxia games. And he was saying, yeah, let's just go get an app because that's not special treatment. Let's just go to Sony and get an app for our game. And he made it clear that, like, it is special treatment. It is. And so, anyway, getting into what I was just trying to say about Shuhei Yoshida, somebody, and the individual, I don't have his name, he asked Shuhei about Blue Box. He's like, hey, you know, you're the head of indies at Sony. How come you haven't said anything about Blue Box? And he just responded with the emoji, you know, like, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's because he knows, man. It's because he knows what's up. Shuhei knows what's up. He's not gonna spoil the surprise. He's not gonna spoil it. But I guess all I'm saying is that if this was a matter of wanting to disassociate, Shuhei definitely would not have responded at all. So, you know, it's not a big deal. Like, I know it's like, oh, you're reading into it too much. Dude, at this point, I'm either 100% right about almost everything I've said, or I'm absolutely insane. And I think we're all waiting to find out. Is MBG insane? I'm waiting to find out. Am I insane? I need to know at this point. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to mention that. Maybe I'll put it in a video. But again, I think the reason why Blue Box continues to come up during this stream in particular is mainly because I feel like the app has something to do with an event of some kind. Could be wrong about that, but it seems like there's just some ties there. There's some strands, if you know what I mean. Small island. Yes, small island. I am going to be very interested, though. I'm always interested. That's a word I say too much. I don't know if you guys know this. I say the word interested way too much. I'm always like, oh, this is very interesting. I'm interested. But I'm going to be very curious to see how it all goes down, mainly because one of two things is going to happen. Like I said, like, at the end of the day, I'm either just a lunatic and I just don't know it. And like, I'm literally like tinfoil hat all the time. And I need to like reevaluate my thought processes, or I've been on point this whole time, and it's going to be an interesting moment if that turns out to be true. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I still don't know. But getting back here, we have Savoy. I don't know if I feel like I'm saying your name wrong. Says, yes, announce more director's cut for all the diehards to buy up in order to get enhancements that should be free. I feel like this is a snarky response. It's a snarky response. I mean, look, fine. I'll give it to you. Yeah, they should be free. They should be free. The upgrade should be free. But at the same time, like, I'm not Sony, you know? I'm not... People be like, oh, you defend Sony. Like, I'm not... See, people need to understand, like, there's a difference between me defending Sony and me just accepting what they're doing. There's a big difference, okay? I've tried ad nauseum to explain to people, like, look, if you don't want to support the cash grab $10 upgrade, you know, as many people call it, then don't buy it. If you don't want Sony to strong arm you, then don't let them. That's all it is. Like, it's as simple as that. But at the same time, if you expect me, somebody who loved Ghost of Tsushima, to be like, I ain't paying $10. I'm not paying that $10. I could lie to you. I could be like, yeah, I'm not paying that $10. Oh, I'm paying that $10. I'm paying the $10. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima on my PS5. I'm not saying that's okay, Sony. Keep charging me every time. I understand technically that's what I'm saying by buying it. But what I'm trying to say is that, hey, Sony, if you want to give me the upgrade for free, that would be awesome. I would love that. But I'm not going to let a $10 upgrade stop me. Like, my God. You know, you look at like Death Stranding, like people complaining about that should be free. Like, you're getting all that content for $10. I can't stand like how entitled people are. Like, Death Stranding is a phenomenal deal. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima isn't that bad either, but like Death Stranding is like not only the PS5 upgrade, but every single piece of new content for $10. And you got people out here acting like, what? $10 should be free. Like, just go away, man. Like, just go away. Like, seriously. People acting tight, like they think that Kojima Productions has been working on this for the past year. That's cute. Give me it for free. Like, it just bothers me, man. Like, people are just so entitled. Jessica saying abandoned app equals scary interactive teaser trailer experience with 3D audio and adaptive trigger feedback. They'll be the pioneer for this new experience. I mean, honestly, that sounds like exactly what it's supposed to be. That sounds like exactly what it's supposed to be. I wouldn't be surprised. That's pretty much the description of it. But actually, let's look at some of the replies here with this one, because this was a snarky reply. Jerome, you're saying, feel like your channel would have hit over 100K a long time ago if you were covering everything in the gaming sphere as a game channel, not a PlayStation channel. LOL. No, you're definitely right, Jerome. It's an active choice for me here to specifically cover PlayStation, mainly because I don't have a ton of interest. Like, my time these days, I know it may not seem like it. I mean, because I do put a lot of time into my channel, but I told myself when I started my YouTube channel years ago, like, this is going to be purely out of passion. Like, the day it feels like I'm forcing myself to do something because, well, this is my job now and I got to do it and, you know, and grind it out. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be excited about every little thing I'm talking about. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to force myself to try to get into something or force enjoyment out of something that I know, like, I'm just, like, this isn't natural. You know what I'm saying? That's why this blue box thing for me comes so natural, and the whole Kojima thing, because Kojima is my favorite game developer of all time. Like, the Metal Gear series is my favorite series of all time. I was there back in like 2013, I think, with the whole reveal of MGS5 and Joaquin Mogren and, you know, Moby Dick Studios. It's like, that's why it's so easy for me to latch on this, because like I'm very passionate about his games and, you know, the Metal Gear series. And yeah, it speaks to me. But the idea of like, I'm going to cover Nintendo now, like, I don't care at all about Nintendo. Not even a little bit, you know? And I just feel like it would be disingenuous for me to be like, well, it could get me more subs and more views. Yeah, it could. There's a lot, dude. There's so many things I could be doing to grow my channel further, faster, with more views. But, you know, I'm kind of selfish in that way, I guess you could say. Like, I just want it to be about, well, what am I interested in? You know, but the reason for that is because you get the most honest MBG, I guess, right? Like, the most sincere and genuine MBG. That doesn't mean I'm closed off to trying other things or checking them out. But, you know, my time these days feels limited, and as I get older, I'm learning that life is very much a balancing act in every aspect, in every regard. And, you know, it's very important. And so, you know, for me, I care more about trying to be an expert, or as, you know, an expert, you know, with PlayStation, and just kind of involved because they do what I like. They do what I like, you know? I'm still paying attention to Microsoft. I'm not going to lie. I don't know that Nintendo's ever going to appeal to me. I'm just being honest. Is my mic sounding weird? My settings are the same. Maybe it's because I'm screaming into it. Saying, does MBG not work well with others? No, I think I can work well with others. I've had, saying it's good, sounds good. Okay. It's not that. It's not that I don't work well with others. It's just, I'm one of those people where it's like, I'm just a particular person. Like, I like what I like, and I know what I don't like. I find myself pleasantly surprised at times, but that's just kind of how it is. It does make me come off as like more rigid, and it can come off that way to people where it's like, oh, he doesn't work well with others. But it's not that, like, I like to think I could hold a conversation with really anybody, but maybe not anybody, but most people. Anyway, but yeah, we'll get to 100K eventually. I'm not in a rush. Right now, just for those who are wondering, before we continue to go down here a little bit further, for those who are wondering, right now, what I care about mostly is trying to focus the content here and get on a good schedule. I got my podcast. Again, I would like to start doing these streams weekly if it's possible, have my news videos. But I definitely feel that I'm waiting for a little bit of a spark. Like right now, I do feel like I'm waiting because clearly like something is going to happen. Something's going to happen soon. Something. I don't know what exactly, but I know for a fact something's going to happen. So right now I'm kind of just being patient, and we just got to make it through the next couple weeks. And I think that we're going to have some things to talk about. Some of these replies though, just seems kind of like a little bit of a back and forth. I'm getting tired of seeing Deathloop every time. At every stream they do. They need a home run sooner rather than later. PR787PG, we want the freaking SSD unlocked. We need memory space. Yeah, a lot of people are waiting for that. You have to assume it's going to be soon, right? Johnny 1996, no, due to the fact I don't want to see games too early like Outer Worlds 2, which had a trailer taking the piss that they only had a title so far. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, that's the kind of stuff that Microsoft is doing that I'm like, really? I mean, don't get me wrong. The trailer was funny. It was entertaining, but really, this is what you're going to do? You're going to make fun of the fact that your game isn't a game yet, that you just have the title? It just seems totally unnecessary. But then again, I don't know. I think the reason why Microsoft is confident basically announcing anything and everything is because they're going to have, like, each year they're going to have more and more to show. So I think that's why they're confident. Black Manta, you're saying, let's be honest here. After the Horizon State of Play ended with in the final stages of development, I will be shocked if this game comes out this year. Besides that, I think he meant to say if it doesn't come out this year. I will be shocked if this game comes out this year. I think he meant to say doesn't come out this year. Besides that, SSD storage for the roadmap. We kind of know what's to come for the next year. God of War, Horizon, Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, and GT7. Yeah, that's true. Assuming that Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16 are both, targeting the next year and a half, I guess that is true. Prince Sean says, I'd love an event, but what do they have to show? Well, that's the question. It's a question. We don't know. The house of PlayStation is on fire, and MBG is cherry picking like his life depends on it. So yeah, they do need a big event. But Sony has, I hate that term, shot its load. From fall to the end of this generation, it will be Xbox front and center. Saynu.com, you're saying, did you notice PlayStation is advertising towards casuals? NBA. Well, of course they are, dude. I mean, you have to understand, like, the PlayStation console is a go-to place for a lot of people to access these major third-party games. Call of Duty, NBA, the sports titles, FIFA. These are titles that Sony, you have no idea how much money Sony makes off these titles and the type of engagement they get on the PlayStation ecosystem with these titles. Like, so yeah, Sony always, I mean, guys, like they've been advertising Call of Duty and partnered with Call of Duty since what, like 2015? You know, they did it with Destiny, they do it with sports titles and stuff, they did it with Star Wars. It works. You know, the PlayStation, in my opinion, is the perfect blend currently between casual and hardcore, where a lot of their experiences, I would say, are more core experiences, but it can also be seen as like the go-to casual console where it's like, you know, I play my Call of Duties, my Maddens, my FIFAs and whatnot every year. But for people, I just want to have like the better versions of them. You know, I feel like that's kind of where PlayStation is. But Howman N, you're saying their state of play was filled with many indie games that took me back to the PS2, PS3 era. Unacceptable for PS5 gaming console. Most likely the AAA titles that people are waiting for, like Horizon and God of War and others, will get pushed back 2 to 3 years. And we will get more Director's Cut games at $100, which are more or less the same game we had on PS4 many years ago. See, well, look, I mean, not everybody's happy. You know, not everybody's happy. And I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody should be happy. It's not my place to determine how you should or shouldn't feel. Like, look, if you're not happy with PlayStation, you're within your right to not be happy. But I don't know, man. Like, what is up with people getting, like, serious question. What are people going to do when The Last of Us remake is revealed? People are acting this way towards director's cut versions. How are people going to react when The Last of Us remake is revealed? Because that's probably a title that's going to be revealed in the next 12 months, more than likely. I feel like people are going to lose their minds. But we don't know. We don't know. People might not. It might be an isolated thing where like people are like, "Oh, yeah, that sucks. That's stupid. What are you doing, Sony?" And then like they release it and the trailer has like 50,000 upvotes and like 2,000 downvotes, and it's like, no, everybody loves it, like, I don't know. MBG, you mean remastered? Yeah, well, they can't call it that though. Like, they can't call it Last of Us Remastered. Like, that's what they called it for PS4. Ponies are stupid. They'll buy it. Oh, I mean, I feel like that's just kind of unfair. Like, I think it's one of these things where I think the notion of a Last of Us remake is super redundant and unnecessary. And if it were me, I would say don't do it. But if they show it and it's like, whoa, this actually looks like way different in a lot of ways. And this looks really, really good, actually. More so than I was expecting. Then maybe. But then you have, but then it's like, but how different can it really be without them completely overhauling the game? That's their problem. That's not my problem. All right. If Sony wants to do a Last of Us remake, figure out how to make it look good. Figure out how to make it interesting to somebody like me who I don't know, man. Like, I love The Last of Us, but I don't know that I love it enough to buy a remake of it again and replay it. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like if I did, it would mainly just be to cover it on my channel. But if they sell me on it, we'll see. Okay, let me see here. We have Anthony here saying, I think it's absolutely necessary, especially to build on their existing momentum. When you have momentum like this, you cannot let it go. Doing an event to show what's next is necessary for every game maker, especially the leader. It also feeds the fandom. It doesn't need to be E3 or even a set time every year, but it needs to happen. So I do agree mostly, but one thing that we do need to kind of circle back to really quickly is that, as I said earlier, Sony, they didn't do anything in 2019. Yet, look at the amount of hype and excitement they built in 2020. Even through 2019, there was a decent amount of excitement. Now, obviously, you could say that, yeah, a big chunk of that hype and excitement was built through, the PS5 itself. But still, they were coming off of a year where they didn't have any major events. They didn't, they went quiet for a long time. A long time. I remember the first half of 2020, it was like, come on, Sony, when you going to do something? We're waiting, And I've tried to explain this before to people, and I don't mean this. People think when I say this, I'm saying it from like a fanboy angle, like, oh, you wait. No. But like, really though, like really, when Sony drops the hammer, man, like everybody feels it. Everybody feels it. So it's not a matter of like, it's not a matter of like, will they have the impact? They will. They absolutely will. But it's just we don't know when they're going to drop the hammer. And I think that's what people confuse. They basically confuse the waiting and the needing to be patient part of it with, well, I don't know. They're going to lose it. They're not going to be able to, like, no. Sony, you'll see. That's all I'll say. And again, I don't mean that in a cocky way. I just mean like people like PlayStation, man. Like I know that sounds like a crazy concept to some people, but not everybody's like always pissed off and angry and upset. They're like, well, Sony is not doing this, and their director's cuts, and they're just anti-consumer. And like, no, not everybody's like that. Okay. iSiler18, thank you, buddy. You're saying like the Nintendo uproar that they get routinely, it will still sell very well. They want the majority to follow, and that will never happen. My $70 Ghost of Tsushima pre-ordered long ago. It's my money. And dude, that's the thing, man, is like people always try to turn it into like it's like a morality thing. Like, well, that's not right. It's like, dude, like stop. Like just stop. Stop trying to tell people what is okay and not okay with them to do with their money. Like, oh, you're buying Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. That's wrong. Like, no, I'm pretty sure anybody who's spending their money has every right to spend their money where they want to spend their money. And I just, it's so hard not to keep going over this, but it's like, people are like, well, Sony's really stupid for doing this. It's like, you may think that, but I hate to break it to you. You'd be doing the exact same thing if you were in their position. You want to know why? Because people buy these games. Do you guys have any idea how much money Sony's going to make off of Ghost of Tsushima director's cut? It's like, I get it. It's like, well, we're going to dunk on them. Like, okay, make your post online then. Leave your comment and get a couple upvotes, I guess, but that's not going to stop Sony from making millions of dollars. That's not going to stop millions of people from going out and buying it with their money. And I know that upsets people. People get upset about that because they're like, well, that's not right, MBG. I'm not defending anything, dude. I'm not defending any. I'm laying it out for you the way it actually is. Again, if Sony were to come out and be like, here's your Ghost of Tsushima upgrade for free, I'd be like, sick, thanks, you're awesome. But they're not. I'm not the type of person where I'm like, you know what, Sony, you can burn in hell, because you're not getting my $10. Like, no, I loved Ghost of Tsushima. I want to play it on PS5. And then people will say, well, you're stupid. It's like, hey, I'll put it to you this way. If me wanting to play Ghost of Tsushima on my PS5 makes me stupid, then I don't want to be smart. Chris B, you're saying Sony was in this position last year with PS5 overheating and RDNA 1 rumors. Sony will be just fine. Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, ever since Sony has become more tame and more quiet and like they don't beat their chest as hard, like Sony used to just straight up dunk on Xbox and stuff, which was great. And they used to really like kind of go in harder, much harder than they are now. But I think because Microsoft has kind of turned things around and they're just doing things very differently, Sony just kind of does their own thing. They're in their own lane. And it really does turn into like, well, Sony's just garbage now until they have their event and everybody loves them again. And then it's like, oh my God, never mind, they're amazing. And then they go quiet again. It's like, well, actually Sony's kind of garbage. And then it's rinse and repeat every time. That's why I think it's going to be interesting if Sony doesn't have an event this year, like a proper event. If they don't, it's going to be interesting to see how people are after that, or how people are when they do have their next event. I will say this, if Sony doesn't have an event this year, it's going to double the amount of pressure for their next event, which is interesting. Nintendo Power is saying, y'all would lose your minds if you had to wait as long as us Nintendo fans did for them to put out a Direct, which they didn't do for all of 2020. Yeah, dude, I heard it's brutal over there with Nintendo. I can't speak to it, but yeah, I've heard it's brutal. So, Boxy Gaming, you're saying, what do you think a Last of Us remake would even change, considering the first game was already perfect storytelling and gameplay wise? You know what? I almost think that. So hear me out on this for just a moment. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but I'm very interested in what you guys may think of this. So we know that the Last of Us TV show, the HBO series, is beginning filming. I think the Last of Us HBO series is going to launch sometime in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, one of the reasons why Sony wants to do this is because they want to market the Last of Us remake, their game, their crown jewel game, alongside the TV show, because the TV show is taking place in the first game. Now, what we learned about the TV show or the series is that they're apparently going to explore avenues in the game that were only explored temporarily. They're going to explore avenues that were only explored temporarily in the game in the show. So a good example is, you remember Bill? I think his name was Bill, right? In the first game. And he had his boyfriend who had, like, the only context we really had were like some notes, but they like got into a spat and they went their separate ways, and the one guy ended up like killing himself, and I think you found him or whatever, if I'm remembering this correctly. But apparently they brought on an actor to play, I forget the name of his partner. I don't remember the name, but they hired somebody to play this character, where in the game, we never saw that character or heard them speak a word, you know? We only knew about them through the notes and lying around. And I'm thinking, like, what if that's what they're going to do? Where they're actually going to add content like that to kind of flesh it out, maybe. I don't know. Like, in the game to kind of coincide with the show. That would be fascinating. London, you're saying, had to choose between The Last of Us 2 and Ghost. Chose wrong. Now I'm excited to play it for the first time ever on PS5. Well, I'm happy to hear you're going to be playing Ghost of Tsushima, man. They're shooting in Alberta. Yeah, dude, I saw that. Did you see the set? Some of the first photos of the set. It looks like it's going to be the opening scene of The Last of Us. And I was like, that looks like it, man. I'm getting more excited for this show. Like... yeah, I saw that. iSiler18 saying, I think the remake will include that 20-year gap with Joel, when Joel was a monster, stated from himself. Yeah, see, that's what I mean, is like, I feel like the only way Frank, was that his name, Frank? Yeah, okay, thanks. I forget some of the names. So yeah, I feel like that's one of the only ways that Sony could very successfully, and I say very successfully as in like basically no pushback at all or very minimal, is if they're like, hey guys, we know it's going to sound weird that we're remaking The Last of Us again, but we're actually adding new content, and not like an expansion, but like stuff that's actually woven into the story. So like, you know, Naughty Dog is working on it now. That's worth noting. Like, Naughty Dog is working on this remake. And so what if they're like, you know what? Let's bring in some of the actors that worked on the first game, and let's do some more scenes. Let's do like a few more gameplay sections. Maybe we can do some flashbacks. I think that would be really smart. I think that would be a great way to convince people, like, this is why you're going to want to play the remake. And obviously you'll have the updated visuals. You're going to have the updated mechanics, because The Last of Us 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it uses a different engine. So I just wanted to mention that, because like, for me, that's how I could see them, you know, kind of really convincing even the biggest doubters on why this should be a thing. That's how you do it. But let's continue on here, because we'll probably go for just a little bit longer here. Chris says, much more important for them to add VRR, Dolby Vision, and 3D audio for home theater. I think the 3D audio for the home theater is important. Dolby Vision and VRR are important as well. A lot of people said they want VRR, but like, I would love to see the stats on people who actually use that on Xbox. Only because like I feel like if you're like on the internet and you're looking for it, you can like walk away thinking, oh, a ton of people use VRR, but in reality, it's probably like a very small percentage. I could be wrong about that. I don't use it. Like I don't really care about it that much, but I just don't pay attention to the smaller things as much anymore. I noticed. Like I feel like I cared about all of these things to the build up of the PS5, and then like now that I have the PS5, I've had it for, well over half a year now, and I've been playing games on it. I kind of just like, I don't know, like I don't really pay attention to some of this stuff anymore. Doesn't mean I'm not. Actually, that's one of the things I'm going to do for one of my next community discussions. So I'm going to have you guys post in a poll. Let me know some of the features that you want to see added to the PS5 as well as the PS5 operating system. So look out for that. But Asaful says PS5's excitement is on the decline. They have to do something at least. Daniel says, I feel like how things are right now, it's more necessary. They definitely need the hype, in my opinion. Aird says, no, when a game is almost ready, drop a release date trailer, then start marketing. We don't need some bombastic trailer fest of games 2 to 3 years out. It gives the gaming community too much to whine about. That's an interesting take. Definitely a different one. An outlier here. Stealth Gunner is saying we already have a roadmap. We know what games are coming up to next summer and even a little beyond that. I don't know why people need an event to see a roadmap when it's already there. Lueg, I don't know. Luigi, I don't know. I feel like I can't pronounce half these names. It's not necessary for them until people can actually obtain a PS5. Zay, very rare, saying, I feel like they should hold an event. Honestly, I haven't been paying close attention to what Sony's been doing, but thanks to your videos, I'm able to somewhat keep up. Oh, well, you're welcome, man. Thank you for that. I'm glad they help. Rolling papers, I guess. Being that they skipped E3 again, definitely Elite H. Nah, just do a presentation and show me what the plan is so I can decide if I want to stick with the company. Not interested in social media or being drip fed at all. I appreciate stated plays and their purpose is good to show progress and updates, but one big event to actually announce and show some kind of initial gameplay is what would be better. I'll read a couple more here. Sean Smith, as much as I would love an event, we already know a lot of their future plans. They're probably going to wait till later this year or early next year to hold anything. Joe Smith, I'd love one. I'd say it's pretty important that they do one, but not an absolute necessity. When it comes down to it, the games are being developed and they're going to release at the same rate and quality as they have been for years. How and when we find out about them is irrelevant once the game's release. You bring up a good point, Joe. And then we have that guy, Hayat. Yep, they haven't had their E3 yet. Also, their 2021 lineup is pretty much done. We need the 2022 roadmap. And we'll do Tyrion, TE, I guess I'll call him. I don't know. I would love for Sony to reveal upcoming titles, both first and third-party exclusives, and throw in some indie titles as well. And then we have 1986, because I don't know even what that name is. They should. I still have no reason to buy a PS5. Okay. So let me bring this up here. So at this point, I hope I shined a big enough light, hopefully, on the community and what you guys, like, I appreciate all the responses. I notice when I ask you guys to do this, like when I do these polls, you guys show up in force, which is always great. And you definitely give me a lot of responses and a lot of content. So, all right. We will have one last discussion here before we end the stream. We're still going to go on for a little bit, but I'm now going to refer to the chat itself. And based off of, this poll, these results, as well as the all the responses we got, I'm going to, this is probably the last time. I'm not going to say this is the last time I'm talking about an event, because that's not true. But for now, until we get some type of like concrete evidence or something from Sony or whatever, probably not going to talk about it much. I'll ask you guys, what do you think? What do you truly think that Sony is going to have an event this year? If you had to make a decision right now, like you think for sure They are or they definitely aren't. Let me know in the chat. And if you're watching afterwards, let me know in the comments if you think so. I'm curious to see how many people. And if you think it's going to be something else, like if you think it's going to be like kind of like a hybrid event or something, you can let me know that as well. Saying no, the Xbox E3 was way too much for Sony. Yes, they are 100%. I don't even know anymore at this point, LOL. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I wish Sony wasn't so sneaky. Yeah. Please stop. MVG won't buy an Xbox Series X. Returnal, game of the year without question. I'm thinking about doing a video on Returnal. Definitely thinking about it. So a lot of people still do think there's going to be an event. There are definitely some doubters, which is understandable. Well, you know, all in all, guys, I feel truly that Sony, I'll put it to you this way. It's what I said earlier, and I guess that this is the best way I could end this community discussion. I have a really strong feeling, and no, this is not like, this is just a feeling, and I've been wrong many times, but I just feel that there is something to these rumors about it being in August. And I don't know that I feel totally confident that it's going to be an event for sure, but I feel confident that Sony's going to do something in August, not necessarily just because of the rumors, but I think one thing we have to acknowledge here, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, and this is probably the last time I'm going to mention it until we get the official announcement from Sony, but they did say in their last blog post and their last state of play that they're going to be back before we know it with more updates. And they did reference Horizon, God of War, and PSVR 2. So, you know, from where I'm sitting, I think it's likely that we're going to get something. I just can't help but think that there's just something with this whole Blue Box app thing. And the timing of it, they said on August 10th. See, that's what's weird is like everybody's saying, oh, the event's on August 12th. Something's happening on August 12th. And I'm like, well, this app, they're saying they're going to give us an introduction to it on the 10th. And I'm like, well, that's 2 days. That's a Tuesday. So maybe there's something to that. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, though, I'm going to just continue to, you know, bring out the content here on the channel, do the best I can to try to continue to, you know, give you guys as much meaningful content as I can. It's been kind of hard. I mean, I know like things are slow right now, but I think things are going to pick up for PlayStation. I do. I think that there's going to be more to discuss. Ponies are so sensitive right now. I don't think anybody's sensitive, man. But you know what? Let me see how long this. So this stream's been going on for. Oh, we're almost at the 2-hour mark. So I guess with that being said, I'm going to end this community discussion stream. Again, this is going to be really important because I'm going to need you guys to definitely give me some feedback on this in the comments. Again, like if we could hit 500 likes right now, guys, we still have 575 people in here. Try your best, hit the like button. Please hit the like button on your way out. Maybe we could get the 500 likes. I will be following this to see how many views it gets, how much watch time it gets, how interested people are, because I don't want to lock it in and be like, oh, this is going to be a new weekly series unless I feel that there's something here. Some people are saying, well, you know, if I do this every week, I'm not going to have enough content for the podcast. I don't think that's true because the thing about this is we basically just focus on a single topic, and the topic doesn't necessarily have to be like the news of the week. It can be pretty much anything. So yeah, but yeah, be sure to leave me your feedback, and that's pretty much going to do it for the pilot episode, I guess. I don't know if I should call it that, of community discussion Wednesdays, I guess is maybe what we could call them. So Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Leave your feedback, and that's going to do it. I appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me here today. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Thank you for all the super chats, by the way. Definitely goes a long way in helping sustain the channel and keeping it going. Big shout out to all of my members. You guys are awesome. Another way for you to help sustain the channel and keep supporting it. But that's going to do it. So, yeah, I will catch you guys tomorrow with a new video. But as I always say, until next time, guys, take care.